PEP Radio is a part of the Pennsylvania Equality Project that plays music, news, and weather, actively advocating for the LGBTQ+ and disabled since 2024.
PEP Radio, available on Live 365, Roku, Alexa, and at paquality.com.
Here at Gay SA Radio, we're very happy to welcome the Othering podcast to our airwaves. Catch the show every Thursday at noon CAT, bringing fresh voices and compelling conversations straight to you.
Head over to gsaradio.stream to find out how you can tune in and become part of our family. Don't miss it, only on Gay SA Radio, where you are family.
One man and one woman join forces to rid the world
What are you doing?
of inequality and fascism.
Seriously?
I'm trying I'm trying to do a promo here.
For whom? What are you doing?
Welcome to the Othering Podcast with Mike and Dory.
Oh my gosh, it's been a day. But we're here.
So where are you?
I am Sagan.
Where are you? Since you're in
I'm in
LA.
LA.
LA. All right, today we are talking to Aly Corvin. Aly is a disability advocate, creator, and powerhouse in adaptive sports and culture. She's recently partnered with Apple on their accessibility commercial, been formally recognized by the city of Long Beach, and collaborated with dozens of accessibility-focused brands, including running major giveaways that put 19 power wheelchairs into the community in the last 3 months. Aly currently holds the title of Miss Wheelchair California 2025 and was named Miss Wheelchair America first runner-up and lead ambassador for 2026. She tested adaptive outdoor gear at the Grand Canyon, won first place in parafencing with no formal training, taken top honors in dancing with pure improv, and built a fast-growing platform of nearly 20,000 followers, all while redefining what access to adventure actually looks like. I cannot read today. Welcome, Aly. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Honestly, that was a joy to listen to because same. Yeah, all of it.
It's late here, so I have an excuse.
It is so amazing what you've done, and I've been following you for a bit, and I love your joy for life, and it was really, really awesome seeing the commercial, and I'm like, oh my God, I know her, and I know of her, and I follow her, and oh wow, and it was just really, really awesome. So let's start with that.
And
How
now
is
you're
that?
talking to her.
Yeah, I know. I get to talk to her now. So
Oh my
once
gosh.
again, I get to fangirl.
It's funny because you guys saying this and then yesterday I did a podcast and it's just never ending these days, and that's my own doing. No one's done this for me. It's absolutely me being oh, I'll just throw at everything and whatever sticks, great. And then unfortunately and fortunately, most of it is stuck and I'm oh no. Now I gotta figure this out. But anyways, how was the Apple thing? It's funny. Apple was phenomenal, first of all. Overall, the experience was just a joy. And I think that so many people have had questions about it, which is crazy because I just didn't really understand while on set kind of the reach that it would have immediately. So it was overwhelming in a good way, but I also just have the worst imposter syndrome, and it's almost on purpose because if I truly grasp how many people are staring at me, if I if there were 17.5 thousand people here now, I'd die.
Yep.
Mm-mm. So I just go about and wow, that's a cool number on my screen. I can't conceptualize that people are actually perceiving me at all times. So with the commercial, it's the same thing. And I love what I do. I've been a performer since my mom says since I, came out of the womb, and I have a major passion for it, but I just don't think about it much. It's just not something that I really process, I guess. So it's been great. The the process of it all was phenomenal. I will say though, like when you're doing production, a lot of people have this misconception that you know everything, right? Like you know what the project is. They've given you a breakdown of the whole script and you get to know it wrong. So like it was a surprise to me too. I got to watch it with everyone else and it was great. And like you know, when you shoot any commercial, you kind of shoot a bunch of things and maybe it makes it in, maybe it doesn't. And that's the name of the game, right? But I was, you know, grateful to be in as much as I was. That was a huge thing considering I was like what I would call like a secondary role. I was a hero talent, but I wasn't like I didn't do vocals or anything like that. I was not just a dancer, but you get what I'm saying. I wasn't in all of the things. So to be in, have like that much screen time was really cool. But what was cooler was to like have people message me in all caps and be like, "This is you," and like, "Yeah, Bestie, that's my face. Indeed, thank you for notifying me." Like,
Yeah, you didn't notice that you were in there,
no,
but
yeah,
it's
I
really
forgot.
cool.
Actually, I hallucinated all of that. I just, you know, I wasn't even there. And no, it's just been crazy. Like, I don't know, conceptualizing how I've got here and like all this other stuff's just been wild.
I'm the same as you. If our audience was sitting in front of me watching this, I couldn't do this. I have a terrible fear of public speaking. But because right now this is just a phone call, it's not public speaking. Who
Yeah.
listens to it
Exactly.
later doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Funny
no,
enough, I do so much freaking public speaking, but when I had to in high school and college, shaking like a freaking leaf.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And I was like nauseous, trying not to throw up.
Yep.
The worst stage fright. I could dance on a stage and not speak, but to actually say words, I would choke every single time. And now here I am like, oh, I'm a public speaker now overnight. Like, what am I doing? Jesus.
it
So-
is awesome though because I'm sorry.
I have a quick question
Okay,
before
go
you
ahead.
go on.
If you must.
Don't you take his spotlight.
Does the camera bother you?
No.
No?
Not anymore.
Because
It
cameras
used
bother
to.
me. I can't do cameras.
No, I actually love the camera, and that comes from like a different perspective. I have been a professional photographer for a very, very long time, and about 3 years, and I was very young, mind you. Like I was getting paid to do photography when I was 16, and I'm very, very blessed to say that. Like I lived in a small town. It's kind of easier to catch clients that, you know, when you have that tight knit of a community. But about like 3, maybe 4 years in, I had like this epiphany and I went, oh my gosh, wait a minute. This is one of the only industries that I know of where the person teaching someone how to do something has never done it before. Meaning like the photographer teaches the model how to pose and how to act and how to whatever. And like they've never been on the other side of the camera. So what a hypocrite kind of situation. So I did a modeling project where I forced myself to go and be a model for all of my photographer friends. And then I went and reached out to even larger photographers. And I was like, look, this is the experiment that I'm doing. Let me know if you want to collaborate. And I just did like all this free work, like a crazy person. And it made me very, very comfortable. And that was all the way back in what? That would have been 2017, 18. So that kind of like broke the mold for me, if you will. So now it's like you, like I just pretend it's not there. If I think about it too much, I don't love it.
Yeah. No, I grew up performing like kind of like you. I used to do ballet as a little kid, and I loved doing like little dances for my parents and family members. And then I was in chorus, and so like singing in a group, not alone, singing in a group with other people would not bother me. And, you know, having a spotlight on me wouldn't bother me in that situation. But being like the soul singer at that moment, that would terrify the shit out of me. And I would like re-hit puberty. I am sure I would sound like I have never knew what a note was in my entire life kind of thing. Because I would be terribly like nervous. Yeah. I would probably have a panic attack in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's like the one thing on my list. It's like a big no. People, I always get off by saying like, there's not much I say no to, right? Like I'm the yes girl. Like people will come and be like, will you go skydiving? Yes. Will you swim with sharks? Yes. Will you crawl on top of an airplane mid-flight and stand? Sure. Stuff like that doesn't scare me. But what does scare me is there are two things in this world that's like, I don't really know about that, Betsy. Number one, I don't think I can bungee jump because I'm made of elastic. I don't need to disassemble
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
way down and snap in half. We're good. I'll pass. Until there's some kind of crazy advancement, that's not happening. But then the other one is absolutely is singing and like letting someone perceive me singing. I am mortified. But I was also in choir. And my high school actually like applied. I don't know if you guys know what Music in the Parks is at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Like we applied and made it, and so like I was one of those people that walked in the black dress and held the little candle, and then I crawled up onto the tree, and like I can do that because nobody liked me and no one could hear me, and technically I could have just mouthed it all.
We did that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was the one time that was really honestly fun. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I didn't hear of any other high schools doing the singing in Disney park thing since or before. And when we went there, we got to see the behind the scenes and all of the people getting ready for their costumes. And it was kind of like taboo seeing people without their heads on. And and I mean, you know, like the heads that you put on for Mickey Mouse and all that stuff, not literal heads.
Oh yeah. Listen, I lose my head all the time, man.
Yeah, me too. And singing there, it was actually quite fun. But again, I was in a group. We were always in like groups, so it wasn't as terrifying as it could have been singing in front of all of those people. And there were times when I did kind of mouth it because I was terrified that if I did, because like I was one of like 3 altos at the time, and I was terrified I was gonna like be one of those assholes that oversings everybody and all you hear is like me. And so I was like, "Ugh, I'm gonna like quiet it down because we're in Disney and they're gonna like kick me out of the park for oversinging everybody."
So we all understand the imposter syndrome. Got it. That's a
Yep.
collective understanding that we have. Great. Wait, so where were you going to high school that you did Disney? Because I've never like actually talked to anybody else either.
New Jersey. I was in
What?
Hillsborough. Yep. Hillsborough, New Jersey, which is like dead smack in between Philly and New York City. And like nothing happens there. And like there's a
I
lot of
felt that.
people that live there, but it's just like nothing happens. It is literally Podunk, USA, especially when we first moved there. And I just, we thought it was like the best thing when we got picked to go to Disney for that. And I had never heard before or after, like I said, of anybody else doing that. And I just, it's kind of cool.
Funny enough, like we call like where I grew up, we call it Yeehaw, California, because it's not what you think of when you think of California, right? I grew up in, we either call it Yeehaw, California, some other things I won't say because it's not nice, or we call it the armpit of California. So it's not
Oh.
like these glamorous things. Like it's definitely the lower tax bracket part of California. So when we found out we made it, it was this huge thing too. And it was just wild that we got to go to like the rich part of California.
Yeah. We were literally the armpit between Philly and, New York City, being New York City the head and Philly being the lower part of the body. We were the armpit.
I have an important question. Have you, in fact, been skydiving?
Yes.
I have once, but
You
before
have?
I was as disabled as I am now. And it's a funny coinkydink, but my grandfather and my grandpa gave my grandma tickets to go skydiving for their anniversary or birthday. They're fairly close. And he ended up having to have knee surgery, so they couldn't go. But they were going to expire, so they gifted them to my mom and I. So my mom and I got to go skydiving together, which was wicked.
That is awesome.
That sounds horrible. I'm
It was
sorry, it really
fantastic
does.
because she went out first, and I got to watch her face as she fell out.
Yeah. Nope. I can't. It's awesome. And I'm thrilled that people get to do that, but you will never see me do that because I am terrified of heights, and just seeing the ground come at me, like I can ride a horse.
I would
I
guess-
can be bucked off a horse and be fine. I'll get right back on that horse, no problem. But skydiving, mm-mm.
I would guess there's a point in skydiving where the fear of heights doesn't really matter. You're too high and you're falling too fast.
Nope.
I think it's also hard, like as someone who's done it, right? Like I expected a completely different experience, mind you. You get to choose how high up you're going. At
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of places, they'll have 3 tiers and you select which one, and it costs more money the higher you go, right? Well, we did the I believe the middle one, because they're like, well, if you do the lowest, like you're really only free falling for like a second or two. You're really not free falling long at all. But it's for those who are like, I don't want that free fall feeling. I just want to like do this and say I did it and then like get me home, you know?
Yep.
But we also were like, well, I don't know if I want to be that high up either because it's freezing cold. And also, do I really want to pay an extra $100? We were just like, oh, what do we do? See, we were at the middle option, if you will, which don't ask me how high that is because I was like 19. But when they strap you to someone, you realize very quickly, oh, I don't have any more autonomy. Okay, well, this person's going to yeet me out of this plane. And I have nothing to say for that. Well, the other thing is we paid for it to be recorded, which means they start to do things a little bit flashier. So you don't fall out forward most of the time. Like everyone that was in my plane, at least I can speak for, nobody went face first.
Okay.
All of the people who were strapped to us like to have fun in their job. So they're like, are you ready? You ready? And they're like faking us out of the plane. And then when we finally went, like when my mom went, bless her freaking soul, I love her so much. If she listens to this, my gosh, she flipped her like crazy out of that thing and then leveled out. So what you're seeing is blue, green, blue, green, blue, green, blue, green, air. Okay, now the parachute's gone off. So you're not really seeing the ground come at you like you think you are. It's just like sky, lots of air, and then you're fluttering your eyes, even though you have goggles on, because your instincts are like, I can't see anything, there's wind.
Yep.
And then you're like, what is happening? They pull the parachute, and then it's like, oh, this is peaceful. Now I'm hang gliding. Like, it's not really what people make it out to be, if that makes more sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because every time, like, I've seen it on TV or movies or anything, it always looks like they're the possible highest ever, and like you see the ground coming at you at ridiculous speeds, you know, kind of like the way that they do what are those?
Now I kind of want to do it.
Yeah, you would. You know, like those things where you jump the cliff diving, where it's like,
no, that's way scarier.
Yeah, that's what it kind of seems like when they show people doing that, and that's what terrifies me is things like cliff diving.
I will say base jumping would give me a heart jump. That, and it's not that I wouldn't do it because, right, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love pushing my limits, and like that doesn't mean it doesn't scare me, but that's like how I feel alive. R.I.P. my mental health, I guess. But base jumping for sure would scare me solely because you're looking at a cliff, and it's like if things go wrong, I'm hitting that cliff,
Right.
And it's not like you have a ledge to go out on. You're like, oh, I'm gonna walk this plank, then jump like a diving board. No. It's like jumping into a pool, but there's no water. Like, I don't love that feeling. And then on top of that, like, goodness, the fact that they make it so you have to do tandem first, lifesaver for my brain. I was like, okay, I did not want to be the one to be like, I need someone to help me. But also, like, good Lord, I'm panicking. If I saw blue, green, blue, green, blue, green, I'm forgetting where the parachute is.
Yep. Exactly. I would be the ass that would be like, you have to let go. What? You have to let go. I am not letting go of this plane. You will land the plane. I will jump out there and, you know, tuck and roll and there.
We'll call it skydiving.
Yes.
Exactly.
I was in the sky for a bit.
A lot of people think you also have to land. You don't. Most of the time, they won't even let you put your feet on the ground. If you're tandem, they want to make sure they have control of the situation and you're not going to like skid your feet, lock out your knees, and break your legs. Like that's their priorities, your safety. So like they told us, and again, at the time, I didn't know I was disabled, make sure you lift your knees. And like they give you training before you go up into the plane. And then they say it again before you jump. And then they say it again after you've pulled parachutes. Like it's a very guided experience. And I think it's been portrayed in media as like this exuberant thing that's so terrifying and so thrill seeking. And most people who go are like, oh my gosh, I want to do that again. Like, was that it? That was it? Oh my gosh, I paid for that. And it's like disappointing for one, because you're like, wow, I wanted this thrill seeking experience. Not to say that it's not, but there's a lot of hype around it. And I think that's no different than like disabilities, right? You see something on TV, goodness, you see the episode of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome on Grey's Anatomy. And I was like, oh my gosh, that poor girl, they touched her and her shoulder came out. My arm doesn't do that. Guess what, buddy? It does. It just doesn't look like that.
Yes.
So since you mentioned it, you said you were 19 when you went skydiving and your disability wasn't really prominent. When did it all kind of come crashing down on you?
Well, funny thing, prominent is not the word that I would use because boy was she prominent. We were just in denial. But
Okay.
no, I came from a pretty rough background. My childhood was not one of ease, and we don't have to like dive into that. But I was in an extremely abusive situation in my childhood. And because of that and split households, basically you look at a child, right, and they're living a rough childhood. Do you immediately assume that their mental health struggles are because of mental health or because of physical health? Well, there's an obvious answer there. They're clearly struggling. Their brain is developing while they are experiencing all of this abuse and, food insecurity and all these things. It's very easy to label that as, abuse related mental health disorders. So that's what I was pegged as for years. I did not find out and get confirmation that my physical pain and physical symptoms were actually related to a physical condition until I was 23. So I've only known officially for 5 years. However, I used to pop my hip out of socket as my party trick. People talk about their party tricks being like, I bent my thumb backwards, or like, I could click my shoulder. I pulled my whole leg out of where its home was. Like, that's not normal.
Nope.
And
No.
I went to a chiropractor when I was 10. My mom was like, fine, I hear you. You're in pain. The doctors say you're fine. You just need to go to school. Like, my poor mother was like, you're just being a difficult child. Gosh. And she takes me to the chiropractor and, of course, tells the chiropractor what's going on. I have no ill will for my mother, by the way. We've talked all this out. But go in. He does x-rays and he goes, do the thing with your hip that your mom's talking about. Great. Because I was a minor, I can't get these. I wish I could. But he showed them to us, and my hip bone was not connected to the leg bone at all. And he was like, you need to be
Wow.
really grateful right now. You have such an amazing opportunity to be in the performing arts. There are so many people that wish that they were this hypermobile and that they could be a circus artist like you. And he just went on and on about how lucky I was to be hypermobile and that I could do these things with my body with quote unquote minimal symptoms, and that I needed to go home and be nicer to my mom.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah, baby, the trauma runs deep with me. But like, I did exactly what he said. I freaking went into the arts and I pushed them further. And I had, the stereotypical type of ballet teacher who was coming by and shoving us into our splits and bending our legs up as far as we could go. So like, I just destroyed my body with the performing arts. It wasn't until I found Revive Dance Company when it was first being founded by some of my good friends that I realized that dance didn't have to be extremely painful in order for it to be beautiful or good or worthy. And so that's when I started to learn how to adapt things. And I, again, didn't even freaking know I was disabled. And I think a lot of that comes from imposter syndrome around the fact that I was surrounded by disabled people. My grandfather was paralyzed from the neck down and lived in our living room. My best friend was an amputee. It was just like around me all the time. So I was like, oh, that's not me.
Yep.
I'm fine.
Yep. And you bring up a great point about dance specifically because not all art is painful, but dance always seems to be painful.
And it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. It should be fun and freeing and a way to express yourself. But when I was a kid, I remember always being in pain after my ballet class and them, saying you got to practice more, and I would have to get on my tippy toes a lot, and it would hurt me because I have flat feet, like flatter than anything, and it was always extremely painful. And I remember, having to do the splits and putting my leg halfway up the wall or things like that, and always feeling like, okay, I'm supposed to be in pain, and my parents took me out because I would complain about being in pain. And seeing you guys dance and actually not look like your limbs are like inflamed and like you're not like running from a fire or anything is honestly like kind of like a inner child healing moment, because it, like you said, it was like this pain, you gotta be painful because art is pain, and that stupid mentality, cause
No pain, no gain.
yeah, and that kind of crap.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's not that way. It should not be that way. You should be able to enjoy what you're doing. and
Well, and I
have
think if we
passion.
like go through like the roots of where dance came from, which I'm not going to spit facts out because I will get it wrong, but like in the cultural background, the history of where dance came from, there was a lot of pain in certain cultures, and that has unfortunately trickled down into our modern teachings. And I
Hmm.
think it is taking a turn now. I think we, with the aid of social media and the age of, these next generations having a much larger platform to have a voice and speak up and say, hey, whoa, this is abuse, this is not
Hmm.
conditioning. Let's not do that. Don't put your hands on my body if I didn't tell you to. Like, they're learning how to go, okay, this is weird. Like, just because it's been done a certain way for so long does not mean that that is the almighty way. Like, that's so freaking weird to me. And I remember even being in dance and, like, for example, when I'm in fifth position, if you know what that is, you know what
Hmm.
it is. Not a big deal. My knees would never go over my toes. And I would have him come over and physically grab my knee and twist it, and it would pop out of socket. And then he would tell me that that's the goal. That's where you want it to be. That's the good place. Like when you feel that click, then you're doing it right. And I was like, yo, that feels not right. I love the advice, but also no, like thank you, but no. And now with the like knowledge that I have, I teach people these things like, okay, listen, you are the only person in your body. If I asked everyone in an auditorium full of people who could do a backflip, I guarantee you there's only a couple, if any. So obviously, if I taught you choreography and it had a backflip in it, guess what, bud? You're going to have to do what we call adapt. You're going to have to do something else. It's going to have to look just as cool as a backflip, but you don't have to do a backflip. So when we
Yes.
teach chair and crutches and pains, and even if you're just sitting on the floor, like all of that is adaptation. It does not need to look a certain way in order to be art or dance or worthy or whatever. Like, ah,
Yeah, because not there's honestly, I was told when I was little that it wasn't that common, at least at that point, for everybody to know how to do a backflip. And I thought, well, okay, then that means I got to learn it because everybody, there's only a few people. And I took it as you're telling me this because you want me to learn this. I could not, for the life of me, do even a back bend, no matter how hard I tried. I like practiced day and night trying to do a back bend, and I couldn't stretch my body to do it. It just didn't want to. And I probably did something to it. I guess, I'm sure, because I love crack. I crack all the time, but even back then. But I thought there was something totally and like completely wrong with me. If I couldn't do a backbend, how could I possibly even hope to do better dancing or do gymnastics? There's no hope for me.
I didn't do dance, but I spent many days in my basement with the couch cushions on the floor trying to do a flip.
oh
Many,
yeah,
many
I had a
days.
trampoline, so I could do a front flip, but I was never brave enough to do a back flip because again, my grandpa was paralyzed from the neck down, and I was always thinking like, well, if I do a back flip, I'm gonna land on my neck and I'm gonna be paralyzed. Like I always had this weird fear of being in a wheelchair, and here we are. You know what I mean? So when people tell me, "Oh my gosh, you're just faking, like you're being dramatic. You don't actually need that," and I'm like, Bessie, babe, hey, hun, I promise you, if I didn't need her, she wouldn't be here.
Yes. Well, like that, I'm sure you've seen it. There's this one person that keeps getting shared periodically on TikTok and various other things saying that people who are healthy do not have dreams about having a wheelchair. They
Oh
don't
yeah, and
think about those
so
things.
many people say that story is what they read on someone's platform somewhere that made them realize for the first time, oh shit.
Yes.
Wait, what do you mean? Like, no, everyone must wonder. Like, it's no different than being gay, right? And you're watching TV and someone's like, hey, guess what? Who do you watch when you're watching a romance movie? And they're like, what do you mean? They're like, who do you look at on the screen when there's a kissing scene? I was like, why are you asking? What do you mean? And I was like, oh, shoot. Oh, I see now. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. I was the same. Like I'm bisexual and I discovered this recently because I kept thinking, but I don't go out of my way to romance a woman or things like that. The stereotype that you hear about. And then I realized, but when I watch movies, porns, things like that, I'm always looking at her and how.
No, I'm just looking to compare. It's
Yes,
not
she's
that.
got nice hair. I'm looking at her hair because it's gorgeous.
Her face looks so great right now.
Yeah, look at that makeup job, man.
That's
The
what I
makeup
look
job
at
is
too,
definitely
right?
it.
Yeah, and I didn't realize what that meant until like I got with the best therapist on earth, and she's like, "What?" And I'm like, I'm telling her all these things, and she's like, "Can you say that again, slower?"
She's like, I don't want to be the one to break this to you. I'm
Yeah.
gonna need you to come to this conclusion on your own.
Yeah, she's basically, and I'm just like, oh, what
Oh.
the, what?
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
I finded myself.
Yeah, and it's like, but it's again those things where you're so used to, oh, well, that's not me, that's not what I look like, so it can't be what I'm doing has any bearing of that. That's other people. I'm me, and I don't match what's going on, and so you kind of like just let it go over your head completely, not realizing that's you.
And society tells you to let it go over your head because
Right.
it's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's not like it's not drilled in our brains since the second we come
Right.
out of the womb. You start watching cartoons and there's relationships in those. It doesn't matter if they're a cartoon animal. Guess what? Piggy's dating the
The frog.
deer. You know, it's just like constantly in your face. And because we don't have queerness in media, or we have a very lacking amount of queerness in media, it's not that we, didn't know it existed. We just were programmed to think that there was one binary way of thinking, and it was not just dating. It wasn't just about queerness. It wasn't just about these 1, 2, 3 things that people like to peg it on. It's, I don't know, internalized ableism that I still fight with and you still fight with to this day, because that doesn't go away. That's
No.
an ingrained part of your existence that you have to fight for, to be like, hey, little voice in my head, shut the fuck up, please.
Yes.
God, like I
Yep.
have had enough today. I would like to just exist.
Yes. And it's so true because even like right now, I am sitting in my wheelchair and you talking about needing your wheelchair. And I'm like thinking right then, I shouldn't be sitting in my wheelchair because she needs it. And, she needs it more than I do because I'm not Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And it's like this thing of constant, but I don't have that. So I shouldn't need this.
Which
And-
is so funny that you say
yeah.
that, because I've never heard someone say that about EDS. It's always the opposite. Well, they can stand, they can walk, and whatever, but you're ambulatory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a funny perspective to even think about, because we think about it in like a tiered system, right? Don't even get me started on the hierarchy system. That shit will get me on a tangent. But I do believe that there is something to be said about higher and lower support needs, if you will. Like, I don't call it whatever you want to, but we get the gist. However, there's no reason why, even if we're talking about two completely able-bodied people, that we should compare suffering or, experiences and say, well, I went through this, so you can't possibly feel that way about what you went through. Everything is relative.
Right.
I'm not even saying this just in like it almost feels disrespectful to say out loud, but it's a fact. I had a friend pass away. I know I told you guys that a couple days ago. Granted, I didn't know him on a personal level like the people who are grieving in a way that is visible. However, he was someone who personally affected me in my life, and I cared very much. And I haven't, had the pleasure of having an easy life. So to me, it didn't feel as big as it could have for someone who hasn't seen as much hardship in their life. And that's a really taboo topic. Like, people don't want to say that out loud. People don't want to hear people say that out loud. Like, oh, but his life wasn't important to you. No, I didn't say that.
No.
I said I was able to process through those grieving stages faster than someone who has not had to do that. Like, practice makes permanent, right? So if I've gone through so much grief in my life that it's a little bit easier now. So it looks easier. People go, well, you couldn't possibly be dealing with all these things because you look fine. Guess what, babe? I've been doing it a lot longer than you think I have. Like, that's just, that's just life. That's daily for me.
And you bring up an excellent point that some people are going to be able to process things a lot faster than others, depending upon the situation, the subject. Like, I've known death since I was 4. I've had family members pass away constantly since I was that little.
And I'm the opposite.
Right. And so when his grandparents started passing away, it bothered me greatly. And I did cry because it hurt. I knew these people, they affected me. But then I was able to turn around and be okay. Whereas for Mike, it took him longer because this was a whole new situation for him.
At least for a couple of the grandparents.
Yeah, at least for the first few. The last 2 were just like,
Oh,
arrivederci.
yeah. Pretty much.
Grant.
Yep, sorry, you're dead. Now let's
But-
have that tea party.
You.
But
Exactly.
the first
Shoot, man. Yeah.
the first one that went was like the first death I had really experienced, and I was
You were a
in my
basket
30s.
case. Yeah.
And I was like in my 30s. I was raised in like the typical American dream type of house with the picket fence and everything. So it was a huge shock to me, and it took me forever to get over it. So yeah, grieving looks different for everyone.
And that's like the anticipation factor of anything in life, right? Like becoming disabled, grief and loss when it comes to death, grief and loss of a job, a career, whatever your, plug and play situation is, however long it's taken you to get there, you've heard about other people going through it. You've heard and seen and helped people through it, and you watch how horrible it's hitting them, but you never really know what it's like until you are in it.
Right.
And I don't mean next to it. I don't mean your partner or your parents or your kids. I mean living it. It is so freaking different. And the imposter syndrome that comes with it too is wicked. And then the longer you process these things, right? Like you were saying, like you've dealt with a lot of death and you personally can, process through those things a lot quicker than most. There's nothing wrong with that, but I will say I would venture to assume at some point in your life you felt the guilt of being okay.
Yes.
And that's the other horrifying thing that I deal with constantly is I process things really fast, and I've even had therapists be like, you need to be sad. Guess what, boo? That therapist fired because I don't. I've been sad enough in my life. I've had enough devastation and horror that I would like the percentage of joy in my life to someday outweigh the amount of
Yes.
crap I've seen. So just with what I do in my day-to-day life, when people are like, oh, well, you couldn't be suffering that much, you just climbed that rock wall. Did you watch the video? Because I was shaking in my chair. Well, yeah, but you were smiling. Great, babe. I made a choice because you control your own brain. Nobody else is puppeteering it. And if someone is, you need to change that. You know what I mean? You can choose yourself to enjoy life despite how crap it is in that moment.
And it's also, sometimes you can choose to enjoy life, and sometimes life just is shit at that moment. And it's okay to stop and say, you know what? I feel like shit. I can't do anything. I'm not going to do anything. And, we can enjoy both aspects of that spectrum. And it's okay if you're in the middle. For instance, about the grief thing, I had a fiance pass away on me, literally on me.
I did not think that was literal. The face you made right now, I will say, is what it did. I was like, oh, you mean physically on you?
Oh, no, not we were in the middle of sex. No, that would have been awful. That would have been awful. But I had left the room and I came back and I caught him. And he had had a massive heart attack. And I remember the details. And it bothered me greatly. But honestly, because I had already been through so much death at that point, I was okay after a year. And, sometimes it still will rear its ugly head and it'll bother me. And I'll have to sit there, I have to feel it and let it pass. But I'm saying this because sometimes grief is not a linear thing. It is not, just you feel it right now and then it's never again. And when people don't always act the way you expect them to in that moment, does not mean that they haven't before or after. And again, society is kind of looks down on us if we cry too much or if we don't cry enough. And it's always this kind of mental battle of, well, can I do it like this, or do I have to do it like this in order to be acceptable?
So-
And things like that. So it's, I'd say it's the same. Hold on. I'm talking here. I'd say it's the same
Wow.
as disability.
I think somebody needs a new co-host.
Okay. Would you like to co-host with me now? I love you, honey. You know. But I was saying, though, I think it kind of fits with disability because all of us have our moments where, it does take from us so much, and it can cause depression and anxiety. And then sometimes some of us will act like it's a walk in the park, but it's because we get accustomed to those feelings. And then other times you can be crying your eyes out because it hurts or things like that. And like, honestly, watching you climb that huge rock thingy. Yeah, thank you. I could not remember the name.
Got your brain fog.
Yep. And those heels, I was in awe because like that's like amazing that you could do that in heels. And then, but the look on your face when you were trying to put your body back together, I could tell you were in pain, but just still happy that you did it.
I've
Yeah.
never made it more than one step up a rock wall. I can't get past that first step. I've tried many times, never made it. But anyway, what I wanted to say before, when you were talking, Aly, I had a epiphany. So since I've basically been a caregiver of Dory with her CRPS, I've struggled a lot to, I guess, get the hang of it and get used to her having the wheelchair and taking her out with the wheelchair and loading the wheelchair in the car. I've had a lot of struggles with that. And I kind of felt guilty and like didn't understand why it bothered me so much when other people can do it well. But when you were talking, I was thinking it's because I was raised completely differently. I was raised in the perfect family with no disabilities, nothing like that. You had to do it yourself. If you couldn't do it, you tried again, you got up and you did it and you walked it off. So I don't feel so bad anymore.
I grew up in that family, and I think that there's something to be said about a caregiver giving giving up that autonomy, almost not for yourself, but watching your loved one have to give up that autonomy, and then you have to pick up the pieces or the slack or whatever you want to call it, right? Because the reality is, it's like we are coexisting the way that we should be coexisting. This whole individualism crap I can't stand, but that's a whole other freaking podcast. But like I did grow up with the rub some dirt in it mindset and get up and keep going, get up and keep going, get up and keep going. And I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of times I was sent to an ER and sent home immediately after and got to the doctor and told I was just fine and being dramatic. And that wears on you, especially if you live in a household that is the tough it out household and work for what you earn and nothing is a handout. And like those things haunt me to this day. And it probably is why I'm a workaholic and I post at the velocity that I do. It's probably why I still have, I don't know, 100 freaking reels I haven't edited or posted yet just from the last 8 months. Freaking kill me. But it is just like, I am grateful for it because it has curated the way that I behave, the way that I go about my life. And without that mentality, I think that I unfortunately probably would have been a miserable human being. If I had gone through the amount of abuse that I went through and I didn't have the get up and dust it off mindset, I don't think I ever would have been able to develop the insane amount of, pettiness that I have for being like, fuck that. I refuse for that to be my life experience. And then I go in the ground. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
No. I'm jumping out of planes and swimming with sharks, and I'm gonna freaking smile through all the pain because I deserve to. And like to like go back to the note of what you were saying of like emotions, right? Like some people don't cry at all, some people cry too much, and somewhere in the universe someone decided that we get to put it on a scale and say what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
But something that I've been dealing with in my healing journey and understanding and learning about myself is I'm okay with being vulnerable on my own terms. However, nobody, and I mean nobody, is entitled to experiencing my vulnerability, period. You can suck it. I don't care. If you're trying to come on my page and say, well, you don't look like, great, enjoy it, or shit talk it. I don't care. You're giving me engagement anyways, babe. So, like, if you want to keep at it, have at it. Some people just want to be bitter and they don't want to change their mentality, and that's fine. But anytime someone's rude, I just educate. And that's not easy for many people. And it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart, because I believe that if you approach someone who's bitter with kindness, they'll immediately feel guilt. If you kill someone with kindness, guess who's going to feel like the asshole, babe?
Yes. And I love doing that. I honestly, like, I grew up on that. I feel like as I got older, I've been perfecting that type of thing, because I love making, this sounds so wrong, but I love making people who do wrong feel bad. Because
I'm sad. What do you mean? That's the most wholesome sentence. What?
And because, like, you're supposed to be, I was taught that you're supposed to be always nice and respect your elders and, you know, be a good person. And I try very hard to be a good person. But if you're an asshole, especially to somebody that I know of, that I am friends with or care about or anything, I'm going to become vicious. And I can't help it. It's like this. For those of you who have seen SpongeBob, there's an episode where one side he's abrasive and the other side he's his normal self.
I'm sorry. My entire room was freaking SpongeBob as a child. I'm not neurodivergent. You are.
Oh, yeah. And that episode is kind of like me, where it's like, I'll be like, very nice, and then as soon as you say something wrong about somebody I care about, I will flip on you. And I have to do it. It has to come out.
But I need to hide the TikTok comments from her.
Yes.
It gets her too much. It gets her too riled up.
Yeah, I will get, like, he has to hide a lot of comments from me, because I do get overly worked up about some comments, and, like, to the point of where I will not only say something back, but I will escalate it to the point of where it's like that feeling of I have to be right.
Do you agree that the TikTok crowd is the worst?
No.
No?
Facebook.
I
By
haven't.
far. Whoa.
Whoa, I saw
Oh
that.
my gosh.
You okay?
I think my power just went out in my hotel.
Wow.
Good thing this isn't on recording for video. But anyways, no, and it's fine. I've got a lamp for some reason, but the left side of my hotel room is gone. What in the world? Anyways, no, I was just going to say, well, to your point there, I think that this is just like super important to talk about, and what better way than to talk about it with someone who kind of understands where I'm coming from, especially someone who's on the flip side of like how you respond, especially in the comment section. I cannot change how you respond, but I think I can trigger a little monster in your brain. And it's that if you feel that rage in that moment and you are telling me, like, when someone's being mean to someone, is it or is it not more infuriating than someone being mean to you?
I can handle somebody being mean to me.
Yeah.
You can call me fat, ugly, whatever you want. I don't care.
I can brush it off.
Yeah,
but someone else, I'm going to bat, dude. However,
yes.
When I had someone say this to me is what switched it for me. So if you see a horrible, horrible comment, even if it's not that horrible, whatever's making you fuming, if you can then imagine protecting all of the people that they are going to hurt in the future with those comments by changing the way that they think, you can calm yourself down, type out the mean thing in your notes section, copy it, delete it. It'll, I promise, work. You'll get the same satisfaction as hitting send. And then go into that comment section, and instead of being cruel, educate with aggressive facts. Not aggressiveness, aggressive facts. Because the way I will twist people's words back onto them is insane. I don't know where the skill comes from. I was always told I'd be really good as, like, debate team or as a lawyer. Clearly didn't go into that field, but I can say that I'm very good at storytelling and, like, putting things into perspective for people. And so when people are saying things that just are straight up ignorant, for one, it's likely because when they say these ignorant things, they're met with anger. They're met with these torn down, worn down people who've been beaten like crazy with words, and they're sick of it, and they finally fight back. And they're like, I'm standing up for myself, so I'm going to stand up for myself. Great. Well, that person who's being cruel and mean and ignorant likely has only been doing it to people who are already burnt out. So that's the only response they get. So now they're pissed off too. It's escalated long before you came along. And so the reality is, if someone goes, I hear you, that's valid. No one should have been that angry with you. Hold on. Did you know? Da, 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 da. Or have you ever thought about XYZ? And people go, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. The amount of apologies I have in my comment sections outweighs the people fighting. And I've actually, and I won't say who it is because I will not ever put anybody on blast. It's like something that is in my core. But there are 3 creators or accounts, they're not even creators, that follow me now that started out as my hecklers. And now they're my protectors. So they'll hop in my comment section and be like, well, did you know? And it's just like, they just need to fight about something, you know? So whether they're defending or they're arguing against something, they just need to be a part of the conversation. And so while that might not be true for everybody, I just like find an utter amount of joy from being in their brain and like puppeteering just a little bit to be like, wow, maybe don't be an asshole. Yeah, no, you remember those people that made you feel like shit? You're doing it. Stop it. Bad.
I love that. And that is actually true. Because, like, I can do it for, like, there's this one creator I follow, and she gets a lot of shit sometimes. And I'm able to go into hers and say, you know, I understand that you're like this, but blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I can do that for them and be calm. But as soon as it's like directed at something that I am very passionate about and people in a certain way, I can't help but get that anger, especially if it's something that could relate to my children. And, you know, that's where I kind of lose the plot there.
And that anger comes out on me, so I
I'm
don't
sorry.
let her see it.
I do apologize. But it's just, and you know, some of it is also probably from so many years of being that kid picked on, ostracized, and all of that stuff, and just kind of eating it and not having the ability to say anything at that moment because it was just so shocking. And so when I see it happen to somebody else, it's just like I explode.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily, well, I do, because it does kind of bring a nice sense of satisfaction when I'm able to do the, you know, cut their legs off and head off figuratively with words. That's how my mom always put it. Is, you know, you should always cut people's heads off and at their knees with nice words, and you know, be that way. And I've worked hard to do that. To not that it's like this, you know, class you could take and I'm an expert in it now or something, but I try very hard.
Our lives are the class, babe.
Yeah, I try very hard to do it that way. But sometimes it's just that anger just kind of rears its ugly head, and and I like the way that you said, write it down, and just kind of get that
like
out.
Comment. Yeah.
And it is so true, because when I have done that, those moments where I have written it out, and as I'm writing it out, it even calms me. And it's like, no, I don't want to say that. Let me rephrase this. And then I can craft something much better that isn't out of anger, but out of not only concern for the person that it's hurting, but a teaching moment of this isn't okay. And, you know, I still don't understand, though. And I guess it's part of my neurodivergence being naive of some sort. But I don't understand all the hate, though, especially.
Well,
We never will.
I think that that's a hard one. However, this is one where, like, from my neurodivergence at a very young age, was put in positions where I had no choice but to, not literally, but figuratively step into their shoes and go, what are they experiencing? What is the past experiences added up to now? Like, why are they behaving this way? Now, granted, there are a lot of people that don't have a freaking excuse. You do have a choice in life, and I'm not making excuses for people who make these bad decisions. However, there is a reason, and if we can aid them in coming down from that hot-headedness, then maybe it'll make a lasting impact, and then maybe one day they'll be the people doing it for others. And it's really hard to consume because you're like, good Lord, there's nothing that is beneficial from being a piece of shit. Like, what are you gaining from tearing other people down? And the reality is people don't want to be alone. And it's hard to be like, oh, like, she's so right. Wow, these people just don't want to be lonely. Trust me, people don't want to be alone. So whenever they feel like your successes are making their experiences look like failures in whatever capacity, right? Like, that could be grief, that could be career, that could be, relationships. If you have something they want and they can't have, they're going to be upset. And even if it's just like the ease of life, right? Like with the wheelchair, I oftentimes get, oh God, it would be so great if I could sit down all day. Like, that's so wonderful. I understand that you're having a hard time with your experience, and maybe standing on your feet all day at your grocery job sucks. But like, for a moment before you speak ugly words, think about my experience and what I have dealt with to be sitting all fucking day. Do you think I'm having a good time? No, my SI plate is jamming into my spinal cord right now. Like, it's just a matter of people not being able to sympathize easily because we've lived in such a like oneism world. We like, everything's very individualism, and like, you must be independent in order to be worthy. That's bullshit. Like, good Lord, addiction and dependence are not the same thing. Like, being dependent on others is human nature. So like, maybe don't shame people for it. That's weird.
Yeah, I would agree, because like, they have this codependency type of thing in the psychological world. And sometimes I have an issue with that, because in a way we should be codependent. Yes, you should be able to survive on your own. You should be your own person. But at the same time, we were made to be in communities. We were made to have love and friendships and all of these things. And you can't really have that without some sort of codependency. And you can't have a lasting relationship with anybody, however it is, without some sort of codependency. Something that ties you to that person. Because without that codependency, you kind of like, I feel like you just kind of end up just weaving through so many people that you never end up actually getting real friendships. And, and I'm speaking from experience on that part too, because I didn't let people in growing up. I was terrified to let people in because I had moved so much as a kid. And I also didn't know I was neurodivergent. So I just thought I was odd, just super odd. This alien beamed down, and I was afraid to let people see who I was. I was terrified they were just going to be like, oh my God, she's such an ass. Why the hell would I even talk to her? And I admit, even after all of the times that I've talked to all of you people, I still have this thought in my head of, they're going to go, who the fuck did I just talk to? And why aren't they locked up? And
after every episode, she asks, was that good? Was that okay? Did I sound bad?
And
I'm the same way.
And it's like, and because of that, I didn't let people in. So I would just always be this kind of stoic person. Just, I would be there for them, but I wouldn't share anything of myself. Yes, just kind of like the princess wave. And by not sharing anything of myself with them, how would I ever have an actual meaningful friendship? And that's where that, that hyper independence comes in. And it can ruin relationships just as too much codependency can.
Yeah.
But you need a little bit of both in order to have the relationships that you want. You have to let people in, just as you have to, help people too.
I'm going to cut you off
This is therapy.
because we're out of time here.
Oh shit!
But
I am so sorry. I kept you on so long.
But I have,
Chilling.
but I still have a question. You were
Yeah.
Miss Wheelchair California
Yes.
and Miss Wheelchair of America runner-up. What was that like?
Oh my gosh.
How did you get that? I mean, where do you even sign up for that? I wouldn't even know how to start.
I've said this, I think, on every podcast. I thought I was going to make it through without saying it, but honestly, it's kind of funny to keep the record going. I signed up on accident, and I've been accused so many times of like lying about that. I freaking signed up on accident, okay? I'm fucking hard of hearing. I can't hear shit. And I'm at this event, and it's just a bunch of cackling hyenas in wheelchairs. And there's this lovely lady, mind you, she's a sweetheart, behind a booth table. And I'm going to every single booth because I used to run booth events. And so I understand how hard it is to like get your name out there, get the attention of someone without seeming like a salesperson. And so I was like scanning all these QR codes and being like, I'll follow everybody and I'll support everybody. And I couldn't hear this woman. And so I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just want to like, I'm going to move on. I have to go to the restroom. Do you have a QR code I can sign? I'll follow you and I'll learn about, you know, whatever this is. Because again, I didn't even read the freaking banner. I had no clue who I was talking to. And she was like, scan this, fill it out, and we'll send you the emails, plural. I thought it meant a newsletter. I did not know she meant, hey, guess what? If you scan this QR code, it's actually signing you up to compete for Miss Wheelchair California. And I was like, shit. So 3 months later, I got an email, didn't see it because I'm a girl who does not check her email. But then I got a DM on Instagram. She was like, hey, Aly, so nice to chat with you back at Rolette's Experience. Just wanted to let you know that you got an email. Wanted to check and see if you got it. So excited about you competing this year. And I was like, Heaven? Excuse the fuck out of me. What did you say to me right now? And so I had to hop on this call and I was like, look, lady, you're so sweet, but like I am ambulatory. Like to a degree, I am ambulatory. I don't fit the description because originally the competition was you had to use your wheelchair 100% of the time. And then it became 100% of the time outside of the home. And I'm actually the reason why that's officially changed, which is weird. But they did take it away of policy, and now they're changing into the bylaws. And anyways, moral of the story is I signed up on accident. And my partner asked me jokingly, he was like, well, what if you did win? Like, God forbid, what would you do for the year? Because you have to pick a platform. So you pick a platform you're passionate about. It's an advocacy-based competition. And I went, fine, I don't know, I want to go do all kinds of fun crap. Like, let's go do some adventure, babe. Like, how cool can I turn that into advocacy? And I was like, well, I kind of already what I do. And I guess it is advocacy. Sure, let's do that. So I came up with Access to Adventure, competed with it in California at the Abilities Expo, and I freaking won. And when I tell you I didn't try and I absolutely had an attitude in that interview room, I promise you I'm being honest. And so somehow they liked my fiery toad and they went, yeah, we'll pick that one. Sign us up for one, Aly. And I went, good luck. And by the end of the expo, I had already had 4 sponsorships and they were like, who are you? And it's like, I don't know, man. I just don't know how to shut up. So that was that, and I kind of just ran with it because they didn't really give me much guidance, and that's not on them. It's just like it's been a fairly unstructured program historically, and so I'm trying to work on that. But then, yeah, I went to nationals. That's what, like, if you sign up to compete at the state level, if you win, a part of your contract is you have to go to nationals. And if you don't go to nationals, it's your responsibility to give away your crown, and then they crown the runner-up, and then they go to nationals. So I went in August, and again, that was not trying to win. I just wanted to be there and have a good time. And when I tell you, I don't think I've said this on a podcast yet, my booty hole puckered when I was up there. It was only 2 of us, and I was like, girl, please do not say my name because you're contracted to go to a bunch of places all over the U.S. And I, again, remember, I threw a bunch of things, and they all stuck. So I've already committed myself way further than I should have. And I was like, what am I going to do? I wouldn't have been able to do Apple. I wouldn't have been able to compete for fencing, and I wouldn't have won fencing. I wouldn't be going next year to train for the Paralympics. So I'm really glad I didn't win. But yeah, I got first runner-up, which makes me the lead ambassador. We don't even know what that means yet, then, because we're still working on it. But like, it's just been a matter of like, yes and. How did I get here? I said, sure, why not? Every single time an obstacle came up, and they're like, hey, you want to do this? I was like, sure, why not? And I mean, it got me to the Grand Canyon. It got me in a commercial. And like, here we are. So I'm winging it. I don't know.
And I think that's actually a really great thing because sometimes you have to say yes and doors open. And again, there's also sometimes you have to learn the ability to also say no. Both work.
We're working on that. We're working on that. I'm not eloquent in that skill.
No, I'm not either. If people ask me, could you, stand on your head for us for $1 million to, help disadvantaged children, I will tie myself to the wall or something if I have to.
Yeah.
And I would jump off a house if that meant, saving somebody, things like that. And
Is that why you never end an episode on time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Yes, it is.
We're
Thank
having
you.
a good time.
I agree.
But yeah, okay. The Paralympics. Holy fuck. Like,
That's
I
cool.
think it's so fucking cool.
I haven't even been classified, dude, so I don't know yet. But I fell into that shit too. I had my crown on, and I went to an LA event that had parafencing there to test out, because it was like a sporting event. You try all these different sports. I was like, oh, I've never done that one. And at that point, again, remember I told you before the show that I believe in weird coincidences, and sometimes if it happens enough times, the universe is trying to tell you something.
Right.
So on that day, I see fencing, and immediately I remember that week, and I don't mean weeks plural in the past. I mean, that past week, I had 7 people in person and online ask me if I had tried fencing before. And I was like, what the fuck is about this freaking sword thing? Like, why do people want me to sit in this chair, not move, and poke people with a stick? Like, I didn't see the thrill in it. I was like, that sounds so boring. Why would I do that? And so some lady comes up behind me, she's like, you gonna try fencing? And I was like, fine. And she was like, good God, Aly, like, why are you shouting? I was like, well, go ahead, freaking put me in the fencing thing. Like, let's just go. So I did, and I fenced who I didn't know was someone who has competed in the freaking Olympics and beat her. Now, granted, she was with her non-dominant hand. However, she's a very good, badass fencer, and she did not go easy on me, and I've had many conversations to confirm that. Welcome, imposter syndrome. But then the other coach saw me, and he goes, hey, so really cool, Miss Wilshire, California thing, so cool. We're going to be having this little like shindig going down in a couple months. You should come. I said, okay, what day? I'm booked out. Like, what day? He gave me 3 days, and I said, oh, unfortunately, I'm only available on the 17th. Why I remember the day? Because it's traumatized me. I'm only available on the 17th. He goes, great, that's the day we're doing it then. And I was like, huh? And he was like, yeah, we'd love to have you. I was like, that was weird, right? And I asked my fiance, I was like, that was weird, no? Like, that was strange. He was like, oh, he's probably just hoping for the publicity. Like, you got the crown on. It probably looks cool. Great. I go to freaking drive there, and I get a call, and he was like, hey, so just so you're aware, the competition start. And I went, what did you say to me? The comp of what? I'm competing? And he was like, don't worry about it. It's super low key. You're probably not going to do good. Like, it's so fine. And I was like, yeah, damn straight, I'm not going to do good. What do you mean? Well, this was foil. I had never touched a foil in my life. At that event, I had done épée. Again, only 1 round with this lady, no instruction, nothing. Just whack with the stick. Great. Go to do foil, and I got 5th out of like 14. Wow. Not great, damn. But I learned a lot, and like these people had been training. So I was like, Jesus Christ, 5th? That's crazy. Yeah. Okay, great. They go, well, now we think that you're ready to compete at a higher level. We're going to be actually having our first ever para-regional competition sanctioned in California that's literally ever happened to date. We'd love for you to come. And I was like, sure, why not at this point, right? Like, I'm just here for the bit. I had just competed in a dancing competition. I went up and literally improv and got 1st place. So I was like, fuck it, why not? I go, and I not only got 3rd place in one of them, 2nd place in another, because there's like 3 different types of fencing, but I won 1st place in the only one, which was épée, that was giving away a ranking that day. So I am now a ranked parafencer. I have an E25 ranking, and I caught the attention of 3 para-Olympians, or people who have been, or like refereed at the Paralympics. Like, one of them literally was in Paris, and they were like, yeah, we really think you should go to nationals. Like, you need to go to nationals. Well, that was 2 weeks from that day. And while I really wanted to go, and I was literally about to hit purchase on my plane ticket, I got a DM on Instagram, and then I landed a commercial for Apple. My life is a conglomerate of shit that makes no sense, and I just yes and everything. And now I'm going to my first ever national competition, which is not like Paralympic level. I'm not like in Team USA or anything. But I'm going to compete at the national level in February. I haven't touched any of those weapons since I got those awards. I'm winging it, baby. I'm going to nationals like, hey, hi, how are you? And they're like, do you know all these terms? And I'm going to go, no, I do not. I'm here by the skin of my teeth. And if I do, great, cool. If not, oh well. But yeah, I've had the national coach reach out to me and said that he's excited for me to get involved. And I've had some Paralympians say that they think I can make it to LA 28. So
That would be awesome.
When you get a
I
gold
don't know
medal,
what I'm doing.
when you get a gold medal, give us a call. And you can come back on.
I think I'm going to go be a hobbit in the woods for a while. If I win an Olympic gold medal, are you kidding me? Dude, I can't even raise enough money for a custom wheelchair to avoid spinal surgery. If I get Olympic gold medal money, no one's speaking to me. I'm be in the abyss. I was homeless last year. I'm going to go live in the woods. I'm going to go be homeless by choice with my gold medal.
So there are probably 3 more hours of things we could talk about.
Yes, definitely.
But-
There's a week's worth of
But
things.
we do need to wrap it up for
Yes.
the podcast. So, do you want to let people, the few that don't follow you, know where they can find you? And
Yeah, absolutely. On Instagram, I am Aly.Corvin, which is 3 letters for my first name, ALY.CORV as in Victor IN, not like Corbin Blue. And then on, I believe the only one that's different is TikTok, and that one's Spacewalk Aly. Spacewalk.Aly. Yeah. Why is it different? Because I like identifying as a problem.
because
No,
it's
it actually
TikTok.
works. It
Thanks,
works.
man.
Because sometimes you want to be different on different platforms. I mean,
it was an accident. I love that you have that mentality, babe, but it was a complete accident, and I realized I couldn't change it because people already knew me as that. So here we are.
Well, thank you so much for joining
yes,
us.
thank you. It has been
And thank you for
Our-
being a yes person and saying yes to us.
our
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
One of the best conversations. Thank you so much.
Well, let me know if you ever want to have my crazy ass on again. I
Definitely.
would love to do
Yeah.
so.
Next week, next
you-
year, I don't care, whenever you're ready.
When you win the gold
You
medal.
got it.
Oh, we should have her and Ryan come on. That'll be crazy.
Oh my gosh, no,
Yeah.
Ryan is like genuinely one of my best friends. Please, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
You
that
might
would
not
be
ever
good.
get a word in because her and I just
That's
yammer.
fine.
That's fine. It's supposed to be all about the guest, not Dory.
Yeah. Hey,
And she
thanks.
talks too
Oh,
much.
you be nice to her. Hey, man, maybe if you guys need a vacation, me and Ryan will just step in.
Yes, definitely. I think that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Please leave a rating for us wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Othering Podcast is brought to you by Loudcore Productions in conjunction with your support. Your host, Mike and Dory Morris, graphics by Joshua Morris, and join us next week on the Othering Podcast.